Погнали? Да.
Давай.
Прям, ребят, всем привет. Начну на русском, продолжу на английском, как обычно. Всем привет, всех рада видеть. В общем, как говорят на собесах, let's continue in English, да? So, hello everyone, and guys, I'm so glad to see you here. And today we decided to organize new meeting format, interview in English. And I'm also glad to introduce our interviewer, Alexei. Alexei, thank you for this opportunity, yeah, and also our candidate, Vlad. Thank you, Vlad, for agreeing to be a candidate. So let's get started, and so I give the floor to Alexei. Alexei, welcome.
Okay, thank you so much. So let me share my screen. Actually, each meeting starts with that phrase. I have some presentation just to tell what's the stuff we're going to be talking today. Okay, you should be able to see. So welcome everyone. Really glad to see all of you today virtually. My name is Alexey Bykov. I'm an Android software engineer since 2016. For now, I'm a part of Revolut, where I actually doing some platform-specific job. So usually my responsibilities is CI, CD, platform tools, and the build time. At my spare time, I really like to be a part of the community. That's why I was a part of organization team of Android Academy. By the way, in Moscow, we have more than 1,000 members still who are dedicated completely for free. And they also was a program committee member of Podlotka and AppsConf conferences. And also, since January, I'm Android GDE. So what is actually the goal today? So basically, we're going to learn something new. This is the main goal. Second one is to overcome the difficulties and the fear of the interview. It might be stressful, it's always stressful, and it's fine. And of course, we're going to get a lot of fun from today. And usually, a typical interview looks like this. So, imagine you have an exam and you just prepared some stuff and you, I don't know, just asked by your interviewer, like how GC works in the details and so on and so on. Being honest, I don't really like this approach. So for me, from my perspective, the interview should look like this. So it should be a nice chat with your friends, so where you're just discussing things about Android and about development process. Usually, I really like to ask not particular questions, but to discuss some situations and to see how candidates can think and so on. And some agenda for today. We're going to be talking about candidates. After that, we will be switching to the technical part and going to be talking about JVM and decoupling and Android SDK. And after that, we're going to have a debriefing session, maybe for 15 minutes, where we're going to get some feedback to each other and discuss the things we've discussed today. First note, it's a real interview, but it's short. Usually for me personally, it takes around 4 or 5 hours, and it's split it for a 3 interview to check if candidate actually suits or not. But we have a very limited time today. We have around 1 hour, and I actually mixed all of the topics together, including the behavioral part and the technical part as well. Second note, actually, interviewer might not know something. That's absolutely fine. I'm here as well. I'm also learning from you guys. Also, candidate might not know something as well, so that's also fine. And of course, all I'm gonna ask today is actually my personal opinion. It doesn't reflect my company, and the questions I'm gonna ask today, I created for especially for that interview. So we are not asking that on a real interview. But at the same time, we know that actually all of the interview can be crossed. So, and we might have the same topics on the interview. So the questions I'm going to ask today, make sure you're going to face you're going to face on each interview. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen. And okay, without further ado, let's get started. Vladислав, hey, can you hear me and see me well?
Yes, I hope so. And do you hear me well?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. I'm Alexei. Really nice to meet you. I'm an Android software engineer in the company blah blah blah, and I'm going to conduct a technical interview with you. Usually it takes different time, but I think we will be able to finish in 1 hour. And during this, we're gonna be talking about you, about your experience, and after that, we will be switching to technical parts and talking about Android SDK and Java as well. Also, during some sessions, you probably need to write some code. So that's usually it's stressful. It's absolutely fine. So I'm here. Just ask me if you have any questions, if something not really clear to you. So I'm here to help, and I'll try to push you to the correct solution.
Okay.
But before we get started with our technical parts, let's talk a bit about you. So here I can see your CV, and the CV that, oh no, I can't see your CV. Let me just open your CV quickly. I should have prepared it earlier, but okay, actually on the interviews it also happens. Okay.
Are you having some problems with link or with document?
Actually, I was having some problems with both, but I was able to open the link, so that's fine. So as far as I can see, you currently work in company iTechArt, right?
Nope. That's a pretty old CV. So currently I work in iTechArt, and actually I've been working here for more than 1 year. It's like 1 year and 1 month right now.
Yeah, that's great. So could you please tell me about your role? What actually do you do at your current job?
Currently, iTechArt is outsourced company, so I do a lot of different things, and starting from creating application from scratch to supporting also some code reviewing part with I don't know how to say, trying to set up a team and make our Android direction in our company wider currently. So different stuff and but mostly it's I don't know. Mostly it's casual Android development, basics. I don't know.
Like getting something from the server and show it on the screen,
yes,
right?
Something like this, plus some other logic and on client side.
Great. So, by the way, how big is your current team now, or do you usually work alone as an Android engineer?
Okay, for almost a year I've been working alone, but now we've moved up to 4 developers and trying to find more. And sometimes teach more, because 2 of these 4 developers are currently guys I've how to say it? I've been mentoring them in our company.
Oh, great! That's really nice experience. And usually you split it across different projects in your outsourced company, or you usually work together?
Most of time, actually it depends, but most of time it's different projects with how to say, yeah, it's different project, but we have one team that can share some knowledge, help each other in some cases, and so on.
That's great. And could you please tell me a bit more about your processes? Do you have a pull requests and do you have a code review and so
on? Okay, so on as I told, we have different projects, and for example, yes, I should admit that I don't have some project we worked in a huge team. So we have one project with cross review. So it's two developers, and we like cross-review each other, and that's how we have like a process of development. And with my previous interns, it's more like my review most of time, and I'm trying to how to involve them in some cross-review process, but it's just in early stage right now.
Okay, by the way, do you use like the same approach in terms of architecture across the different projects, or you have like, or it's up to engineers to decide which architecture to use to a particular project?
Actually, if it's project you were assigned on, you need to work with that architecture that is here at all. Maybe you can add some improvements, but if you're starting like a new project, you are free to decide what to use.
So, okay, I see. Okay, and what's by the way, what do you usually do to achieve the good quality of application?
The good quality. Okay, so like basics, it's code review, but we also add some small CI processes, but not like a huge CI process with deployment and so on. Something like to run how it's called, run detect and some unit tests if we are writing unit tests on pull request, so to stop you from merging if some of conditions are not met. But mostly it's some code style and code style checks.
Okay, and like do you always write unit tests?
No, it same as always. It depends on the project. It depends on what goal are we trying to achieve, because it's like specific of outsource company. If you have like a project to create, sometimes it's you know, it's not enough time or money to create unit tests, but in some cases it's more like a developer. It's more like a question for developer to create unit tests or not. But if talking briefly, no, not always.
Okay, and do you like have an experience with integration tests, and especially with the UI tests, probably?
Only a small amount of UI tests, and most of them were using. I don't remember. Maybe it was Espresso probably, and it's like not like a real life experience. It's more like just for myself.
Do you run them on the CI as well, or they just run locally?
Locally, not in CI flow.
Okay, I see. And like if you could create some like a common advice for everyone in terms of unit testing, so like when should we write UI tests and when we shouldn't, from your opinion?
From my opinion, actually, if you're working on, it depends on your goal. So, okay, if I would be able to say it, but I would like to write a lot more tests than I'm writing right now. But about should we write them a lot? I think it depends on goal. For example, if your goal is to make developers' life simpler and make overall quality of your product or your application better, so you need to write more code, more tests. But it depends always.
Yeah, okay, sounds
but
fair enough to me.
I like tests, and I'm trying to do where it's possible and where times allows and situation allows.
Yeah, great. And also, as engineers, we do have a lot of mistakes usually. I mean, that's fine to have some mistakes. And if you could tell us, like, I don't know, the biggest mistake in your career as an Android software engineer, yeah, I would be really grateful.
When you're talking about mistake, you're like about technical stuff or about some maybe soft.
Actually, it was tricky parts. So yeah, actually both interesting to me. So like we can start with some technical stuff. So and then yeah, you can tell something about non-technical.
Okay, I'm trying to remember something, but it wasn't actually. It's hard to it's hard to find something that you will be fully responsible on. But I can remember one situation on one of projects. But I was more like trying to fix it somehow and investigating it than the reason of why this issue was created. So we had like a lot of bugs because of some notification, a lot of crashes on production because of something has changed in notification in Firebase messaging from our backend side. And we didn't test it previously. And secondly, it had some issues that it should be like notification in background. So not in when you in foreground notification, but in background, because it differs how the object with data was sent. So actually,
yeah,
I was more.
Yeah, there are data messages and notification messages as well in the Firebase.
Yes, and I was more like trying to fix this issue, trying to prevent more crashes, and trying to tell like backend what the issue was, because it was I think if we're talking about what my part of fail was, that I was refactoring this project a lot, and I didn't saw that this could be coming, and we had like not a lot of users, but our crash free rate falls like to 90% or something like this, from 99 and 9.
I see. And which conclusions have you made to prevent such mistakes in the future?
Actually, if you're trying to, if this was like my code written from scratch, I would be thinking about adding more edge case, like thinking about more edge cases when you're creating your code from scratch. And what I've really but actually, this is the same issue. This is the same things that I found out. You need to think about a lot of edge cases, and trying to prevent them all is it's hard, but it's better not to have them at all. To be more careful with a lot of things.
Okay, sounds sounds fair enough to me. And like talking about your like, what was the most challenging and enjoy software engineering to you? Probably it was, I don't know, some custom view you were supposed to create from scratch, or what was it?
About like learning or working with it?
Yeah, let's talk about working. Like the most like a challenging task you've ever had.
Oh, if you're talking about challenging task, you actually mentioned custom views, and I'm pretty bad with them. But I had a task of creating a custom view for drawing on how to say it. So it was like application for working with garlands, or how it's say like these things with light bulbs and so on. And there was a custom view that you could draw on some scheme of garland, and it has like work with real life garland on it, like girlanda, I don't know, lights. And I was not creating this thing from scratch, but we had like a really huge problem that it was lagging a lot, and I was need to re-implement it from scratch and make it more how to say it, more agile and more maintainable, because there were different types of these Golands. And this was when I firstly encountered custom views with real life experience. And first of all, I was needed to remove all logs, and actually it was easy part.
Yeah,
because
let's stop on this part. Yeah, how did you remove all the slow all issues related to the performance?
It was easy part, because previously they used just bitmap that was shrinked and then mapped to all how to say it, all pixels of this shrink bitmap was mapped to this Golan scheme. And I've just created some abstraction to not use bitmap on view, and not to shrink it at all. I've had a list of position of these Golands, and this list it was just a small data class with all data needed about current bulb in this Golan. So it speed up a lot, because shrinking bitmap on UI is not a best idea to do it in real time. So it was the easy part. The other part was how to draw all
that's fine. That's fine. Let's continue.
Okay.
Let's continue to the other part. So, how do you usually learn something new? It's really important to be up to date with the latest stuff released by Google and so on. So, how do you usually learn? And second question: what are you currently learning to get better in?
So the question is, how do you usually learn? I didn't. Actually, I try to be with touch of all modern stuff, YouTube, also some news, also trying to read some releases about. It's about part of news. Trying to read some release notes. But also, if we are talking about other stuff, we had Android Academy. But what's more, I was trying to learn and remember some things by teaching, and so I tried to apply for being a mentor in Android Academy. It was great experience about 1 year ago, and what's more, I think it differs. I named most of stuff, and what I'm
that's
currently
fine.
learning.
Yeah. What you currently learning?
Currently, I was learning by practice with a lot of. I had issue with Dagger 2, so I was forced to learn by practice with a lot of components and so other. So I've learned Dagger 2 previously by practice, but currently I'm planning to start learning Compose. Actually, I tried Compose previously, but my knowledge is not great at this field. So I'm trying to learn it to maybe share some experience to others.
Yeah, that's great. I would actually agree that actually one of the best things to learn is if you're able to explain to everyone how it works. Okay, you got it. You did the job. You got how it works, and so on. Okay, probably last question regarding this, but what if you were supposed to start a new project completely from scratch? So what would you use in terms of tools, and why?
You are talking about tools and not a technical stack, or
technical stack. I want to be technical stack.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, currently I'm in this position right now because we are starting one new project, and I'm thinking about it a lot. And as I could tell you about current experience I've had, it depends on a lot of stuff. Like, what do you know? What your team knows, and what is actual right now. So currently, it's my opinion, but I'm talking about what we are going to do on current project. So I'm going to use, for example, for UI part, it's not compose, still not, but because it's early and we don't know it yet a lot, but just simple XML, then MVVM. What goes next? Trying to like MVVM with some clean architecture. For the eye would be possibly Dagger 2. Actually, I was thinking about Hilt. Actually, like 1 year ago, I would think about Coin, but now Hilt versus Dagger 2, and I'm thinking about Dagger 2 because it's more agile in some parts. What's
let
more?
me let me ask like the question regarding the DI. So like, where would you use Coin? Where would you use Hills? Where would you use Dagger 2? Like in which scale of project?
Oh, if you're talking about scales of project, I don't think that I have like enough experience to discuss it like from my point of view. But if you're asking me about just my opinion, I think that Coin in most cases right now is not so like a best idea for starting like a project at all, because you have right now Hilt that how to say it, like as I told before, it's my opinion that Coin is simple to use, but Hilt is simple to use too, and that was like the main advantage of Coin over the Dagger.
Which disadvantages do we have using Hilt? We have actually a lot of disadvantages, and actually probably a lot of people think that okay, it's
actually I've tried Hilt once on my like paid project, and I find out one disadvantage that is not like common, but I know like most common disadvantage of Hilt that it uses subcomponents, and it's hard to add other subcomponents, and also with Dagger 2 you can add components with this, and it's bad for a huge project because it will have like a huge impact on compile time.
Great. Okay, this is actually what I wanted to hear. And what is about in terms of multi-threading or asynchronous operations? For
now, it's I think like mostly coroutines, because for starting a new project, maybe 1 or 2 years ago there was like dilemma between RX and coroutines, but now most cases can be solved by coroutines with flow, and flow actually helps to create, I don't know, helps to fix all issues that we don't have in coroutines that RX had.
So, by the way, which issues?
You know, when coroutines were created, they don't have like a lot of operators, and also it was not easy to work with, you know, with observable pattern like we had in observable in RX Java. Also, there was issues that we had some channels in coroutines in Kotlin. More like that were not so great. I tried them once, but I don't remember anything about them. That it's more like theoretical guess. But now we have flows, also state flow, shared flows that I don't know. Also if we're talking about like just clear coroutines, it's more faster ways and even more simpler to start working than to work with coroutines.
By the way, coroutines
than RX.
By the way, why coroutines work faster?
Okay, so when okay, it will be a tough question because I don't know how to describe it even in Russian. But the main
That's
idea
fine.
is
It's coroutines. It's really complicated topic.
When we are working with RX, it creates a lot of, you know, how to say it, observable, and has a lot of switches between threads. But when we are working with coroutines, it's all compiled in some, I would like to say it like somehow like magic stuff that don't like jump between threads, and also, you know, all this continuation stuff. For me, actually, it's hard to describe even in Russian. You know, I had some brief,
that's fine.
Vision of how it works.
Okay, let's let's move to the technical part, and I'm gonna share a Coder link for you in a private chat. And well, actually, I just need probably someone's either Vasilina or other guys who can share the screen with that Coder to for everyone.
Yeah, Shamil, can you share the screen, please? And you can hide me.
Okay.
Okay,
what should I do? What should I share?
So I sent a link to the private chat, and you can just share this link, for everyone, just not to to navigate to that link via browser, because probably someone's watching from the cell phone and so
on. Could you set me?
Yeah, I've sent it to the private
Telegram.
chat. Okay, okay, 1 second, I'll do that.
Okay. Yes. 1 minute.
Yeah, just insert like anything that doesn't make any sense, actually. All right. So let me first explain what we have. We have some code. We are gonna run it. We're just gonna discuss it, and it's probably gonna modify it. So we have a class data, and we'll have two fields, like content, error, and we have a test. And the first question, what do you think about this test? So is it gonna pass or not?
No, it's 1 second. It's not gonna pass. And should I describe why? Or
yeah.
So it has like hash set contains. So contains check of do we have like this class with such data inside of this set. But the issue that when we call this data, like set data, it should be like the same, but issue that we don't have equals overridden, and because of that, it will not find anything in this set.
By the way, how talking about hash sets, what is actually happens internally under the hood when you're trying to add the new object in there?
Okay, so hash set. Okay, I don't remember like all details, but the main issue is that it has some how to say. First of all, it has some key value inside. We're talking about set. So yes, anyway, it has a key value, and for key, it's use. I actually I remember how it works with hash map, but I think it's almost the same algorithm inside hash set. The main thing that it use key hash code of objects that we pass, and data as object, like value is object that we pass here, and then it checks for unique so it's set. So when we Oh, actually, it's issue with
That's
okay,
fine.
maybe it's not using
Take your
just
time.
so maybe just it's not using just hash code, but some other stuff. But the main idea is that it's giving us a unique set of objects inside. I don't know how to say.
Okay. So you mentioned that actually we need to override equals method. So, but in your explanation, you also mentioned something about the hash code. So, in talking about the hash code, like, yeah, let's talk about the hash map and hash code. Like, which role it actually plays in the hash map?
In hash map, it's you know, like unique key that is used to how to say it? Unique key that is used for these for data that object represents. And you know, main idea of hash maps that if hash maps of two different objects are different, then these objects and data inside is completely different, or it differs. But you know, when it's equals, when hash code of two different object equals, it may be some chances that these objects are equals, but it's not guaranteed. So, and about the role in hash map, it's used to calculate this key that will be used for accessing our data later.
Actually, like, it's not exactly the key. So like, we're gonna calculate some bucket based on the hash of the key, and this actually, like, we're gonna calculate some position in some bucket position. So, and talking like yeah, and talking about the bucket itself.
Yes,
like,
about buckets. So that has some predefined amount of buckets because hash set could be. I don't remember type of hash set, but it could be like a lot of different values or hash code. But the main idea is that it calculates hash code and then takes mode of amount of buckets to set the value inside a bucket. If we are talking about hash map,
that's fine. So what is about collisions? What is collision?
Collision, it's when we have you know, two different objects but with same hash code. Even it will be easier. It's not even hash code, but for example, we have something like 16 buckets, and we have for example, one hash code is 1, second hash code is 17, and it will be collision because all these two objects are refers to first bucket, because one mod 16 is 1 and 17 mod 16 is 1, 2, and that's when collision appears because we have two different objects we need to set into hash map.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Don't continue this. So, like, okay, you mentioned that, yeah, it's not going to work. So let's fix the problem. How can we fix it?
If I'm correct, we can fix this problem with just one word. It will be data class. And yes, this possibly will be fixed.
Well, this actually won't be fixed by just data class.
Oh, but if we are talking about more like Java way, we need to override equals and hash code.
I mean, so actually, question about it. So from first perspective, we can look to that object and like, all right, data class should be good guy for that data class. I mean, just class calls data. So, but for some reasons, like it's not gonna work. It's gonna work for the content. So, but it's not gonna work for the throwable, unfortunately. Like, imagine that. Let me just copy another test to the object.
Once again, can you please repeat, because I don't how to say it get.
Yeah, sure. So
actually, we have like one more problem with immutability, but let's.
Yeah, that's fine. But also, it was up to mention. So yeah, let's refactor it. So and regarding that part, so this part is fixed. That's fine. Let's remove it.
Okay, got it.
But talking about this part, so for some reasons, actually it's not fixed.
Data applying IO exception. Okay.
But also set at data. Yep.
Okay, possibly this could be issue with maybe equals of IO exception, or
well, actually, like it's you're actually you're thinking right. So talking about throwable, like we don't have any equals and the hash code methods in there, and even in each exceptions we don't have that methods out of reason. So like
so they will be different always with different objects.
Yes.
So you need me to fix this issue, but okay, so it will be like first solution like this.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's the tricky one. So okay, yeah, it's gonna work. So if you're gonna have like only one object, so like, but can we fix it inside data class?
One second. How can we? Can you please repeat?
Yeah, can we fix it in data class, like by not modifying the test itself?
Oh, in data class.
Yeah.
Okay, I had like first idea that I can think of, but maybe it's not right to compare messages of these exceptions inside. You know, like if it has.
What exactly to compare the messages?
You know, like in throwable we have a message inside, and if you're talking about it actually depends on what we are trying to achieve, but if you need
so
just to
like
fix
our common idea, so we want to make this test pass, so and like it work with all of the exceptions we have ideally. So like yeah, here we just need to override equals and the hash code as well. So like let's just discuss it and let's move after that to the next parts.
Okay,
like,
so
how would you override an equals method?
If you're talking about like what should I do, I will continue to compare content of this, but in throwable, instead of comparing throwables by themselves, we will compare just message that they have. So and then it will work checking exceptions. Oh, so you're talking about also this.
Yeah, have a lot of edge cases.
Okay, I'm trying to get what I'm talking about. So you're trying to ask me how should I like override equals in data in class data, or should I find other stuff?
Yeah. So like the main question. So we really wanted to have the contract. So in terms of like Java specification to make it work. Like with everything. Yeah. But for some reasons, yes, throwable actually like we can't modify it. So but we can fix it.
Okay, we can, as I told previously, just override equals, but instead of comparing error by equals, you know, throwable with other throwable, we can go full cycle of comparing. It means going through all fields that we have, checking type of our throwable, and what's more, and I think that hash code has no sense of checking hash code, because if it's not overridden in throwable, then it will be different anyway.
Actually, without hash code, it's not gonna work as well.
Yes, I'm talking that it will work without hash code, because if as I understand, you previously told that in throwable equals and hash code are not overridden. Yes. because I don't remember that. Okay, so yes, we should like override all things that we need to do.
Yeah, but
say,
actually, if we don't override the hash code, like we might have a chance that hash code will be different in our throwables.
Yes,
it will be the same. Yeah.
This I get it too. The main issue that yes, we should override hash code on data too, because we changed like default behavior of equals, and equals are connected to hash code. I can describe how it connected. They connected that when equals are when one object equals another object. How to say it? Oh, like once again, I will try to describe. Connection of equals and hash code are next. When objects are equals, that means that hash code should be equals too. But if hash codes of two different objects are equals, that doesn't mean that these objects are the same. And because of that, we need to override equals and hash code in pair.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Well, actually, yeah, to fix it, we just need to override the hash code and equals method. So actually, it has some tricky parts how it should be overridden. So, but we're a bit out of time. And, yeah, let's move to the next section.
Okay.
And let's talk a bit about an Android. So yeah, we'll just remove it. So yeah, that's fine. About Android, we have a next task. Let's imagine that like you have two screens. And yeah, just regular task. You just need to pass the data from activity A to activity B. So how can we do that?
There are different ways, and first of all, it's to pass data with intent and start activity with intent. It's one of the most like native ways of doing it. And if we are talking about some other cases, because intent uses bundle, and bundle is not like has full power over anything, we can share it with I don't know, maybe with some data on our device, on device data, but it will be not the best solution. So I'm talking about intent.
Yeah, great. By the way, yeah, let me just.
I think I can't hear you right now.
Everything is fine. So yeah, I just have a bad habit to touch it. So everything is fine. Yeah. So I'm actually agree with intent. Like yeah, it's pretty straightforward solution for that stuff. Like what happens actually with data we passed to the intent when activity
it serialized and then deserialized, and that's one of the problems of passing data to intent, because it has like some restrictions on size and on types of object we can serialize and deserialize.
By the way, what do you think? Is it always serialized or not?
Okay.
Like in which cases serialization can be really bad for us? What do you think?
Can be what?
Can be really bad in terms of performance, maybe, and so on.
Oh, when we are talking about a lot of data, it's not a great idea. Also, when if we are talking about intent, okay, actually, with a lot of data, let's first stop on this because it has like a huge impact of on performance, because if we are talking about some serializable or even parsable, it uses reflection, and it's not a great way for for a large amount of data. And possibly this is like one of the reasons why bundle size is restricted, but I don't remember size of this restriction.
So if you are supposed to implement this solution, just data transferring from screen A to screen B, like by Scratch, what would you do to achieve like a maximum performance of it? Like, would you always serialize it, even if it's not necessary or not?
We can, for example, pass only, you know, like ID of our data. It's one of how we can say, you know, one ID is, for example, some int or some string, and it's faster than serializing all model. But on the same site, we need to have some. For example, if we're talking about, you know, cache data, for example, some objects that will store data for now. For example, if we have some tokens that is not somehow saved into our local storage, we can say it just in our memory of application, and with some DI injected into, for example, view models or our presenters in different activities. So it will be faster from this point of perspective.
Yeah. Okay, I see. And let's mention that what actually happens when the process is being killed, but we have some data in bundle, or will it be resolved or not?
Okay. Actually, I don't think so, because as I remember, intent is not saved when a process is killed. So there could be some issues with this too. So possibly no, but there are some ways how we can avoid it. I think. Okay, if we're talking about process death, I know that from perspective of, for example, our view models, we can use safe state handle because it outlives the data in it outlives our process. And if we are talking intent, actually, this not my how to say it. We can also instead of intent, we can have pending intent, but it's not best part of my knowledge. So, and I think it's used not just for starting activities, it's for other things, but pending intent outlives process death. Actually, it outlives even reboot.
Yeah, and talking about the data within the bundle, so actually, to achieve maximum performance, it won't be serialized always in the 100%. So because for instance, when we just open screen A and screen B, so it's not going to be serialized, and even the instance will be the same, and even we can actually go over the limit of a serialized data. So it will be serialized only in some cases. Okay, if process is about to be killed, okay, it's gonna be serialized. So, but it's not for all the cases. And talking about state handle, actually, yeah, it works with bundle, so it uses the same mechanism. So yeah, and okay, we passed the data through bundle, everything is fine. But for now we have an image. Imagine that it's I don't know, image capturer or image library. So we captured an image and we need to pass it back to activity A.
Okay, so it's I think it's better not to set results of it, but okay, you're talking about your UI, or if we somehow had clear bitmap out of
this question for you. This question for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, how would you do?
Okay, so for example, if we had some, you know, okay, let's talk about that. Somehow instead of URI, we get some bitmap, and main idea that I have right now is to save it somewhere temporarily or inside our local storage, get URI of it, and pass just an URI instead of passing But if we are talking, for example, asking, I think that's how other applications do. It just gives us a URI of image. And if we're talking about, for example, camera, it also gives us URI, but it doesn't store it in our application. Okay, so let's in briefly, we need to store it somewhere and use URI for it instead of passing whole image.
Yes, sounds honest for me, but like if we store it somewhere, like we also need to cover the cases if process killed, for instance. Yeah, how can we do that?
Okay, once again, process is killed when and for what? Because maybe we are not
like we took a picture, so but we didn't like press the button like finish the screen or something like that. We closed our application. It's in the background. So while it was in the background, like our process of our main application has been killed, and yeah, we actually can lose our data because of it.
Okay. Actually, actually, I don't like know the answer. I have some ideas. So, for example, in case, I have a question. Currently, right now, we have this image stored only in our like runtime memory, not in somewhere on device. Yes.
For now, yeah, it's only like stored in the runtime.
Okay. So, okay, I have idea that either we can do anything with this, or we can store this image to our storage on our locally, for example. What? Yes.
You mean to store an image in internal storage, right?
Yes. And when for example, when we, for example, go out.
Yeah, I see. Actually, I got an answer. So, okay, but let's imagine that, you also mentioned that it's better to not to put it into the bundle as as a bitmap, right? And could you please explain why it's better not to put it to the bundle?
Why it's not bad? First of all, it has like restrictions on bundles, so it could be you can have exceptions that the bundle is out of sizes. I don't remember how it's named, but it's like one of the first problems.
But the performance will be faster because you already have a bitmap. You can pass it to the client side. But okay, we can have an issue. Small hind, we not always have it, and we were talking about it on the first part.
So if you're asking about like this issue when we restore in the state of our application, maybe
exactly.
Because if you talked previously that sometimes it's not serialized and sometimes it's serialized, so we will have an issue when it tries to serialize.
Exactly. So let's focus on this part. How can we exclude our bitmap from the serialization? If process is gonna be
if
killed.
we're talking about Java, we have once again. Oh, I got it. When we're talking about Java and serializable interface, we have transient keyword, and it says that we just ignore this field for serialization process.
Exactly.
But actually, I've always guessed why do we need this transient word at all? Because I don't
and
saw
this is
any
practical
use
case for
this. Okay, but yes, this is like practical case, but
however, our issue is still not fixed. We handled only the case where we passed the data back, right? But process might be killed. And for instance, we already passed the data So we open we should somehow to restore that bitmap that we pass. Let's try to think what else can we store to bundle when we call a set results on our activity. Should it be only bitmap?
No, it can be anything you want because
I mean, apart from bitmap, what else should we put into it to to cover that case when the process being killed? Yeah, just a small hint. You've mentioned it recently.
Oh, if we're talking about URI, so
yeah,
you're talking about URI, yes?
We can store it at the same time, but we can pass two fields. So yeah, and then on activity A, we will check it for now. If it's not okay, we will get it through the file. So we can actually we can avoid external getting the file from the system.
Okay.
For instance.
Okay, so it's like one of use cases when we can use.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So
I've never thought about this way. That we can fine. Go on some risk and process it.
Yeah, let's solve one more task. It's gonna be Coder past based. So I'm actually passed the code to Coder past, and yeah, I actually will ask Shamil to help us again. If you can hear us, please. Could you please share the screen? Okay, so we can see it. So what's actually we have here? We are third-party library, and we have a view model in our third-party library. We don't have any Rx, Java, coroutines, Kotlin Flow, etc. because we're gonna be connected as a third-party library to a lot of applications, right? So and we actually need to achieve as less weight as we can. And the question is potentially what do you think? So we actually observe some data, but we might observe some data from the server. So potentially, what's the issue might we have here? Do you think?
Okay, once again, you talked that repository is, for example, our or other some libraries that doesn't use any...
Actually, everything is library. View model itself is our third-party library. Our application is going to be connected as an external dependency, and it's going to be presented as just one button, in our client's application. And when we press it, we would have a couple of screens, right? And each screen has a view model, and each screen actually can go to the network if needed. Yeah, and that's we don't use Rx, Java, it's Kotlin coroutines. And potentially seeing this code, which problems you may see.
One question that I didn't get correctly, is it just Lambda
just Lambda. Yeah, it's just a listener.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, what problems can we get? Okay, what problems can we get when we use this view model we have? Okay, 1 second. We have can you get some hint about
yeah, sure.
What should I go into? For example,
usually when we go to the server, in which thread we usually go to the server?
Actually, not on UI thread. We need to go on some other background thread.
Yes. Imagine that. Yeah, it's done internally in our repository. So we use let's be just executors, and we just somehow we can switch our thread. But the problem here is that results when we observing sometimes it's on the UI thread.
I got it. So if you are talking about live data, we have like issue with set value because this lambda can be called from another thread. And thing with set value is that we need to call it only from our UI thread. And to avoid problems with this, we can use post value, or we need to switch our thread to some UI thread and then call set value.
Great.
If you're talking about
this. With post value, it's gonna work, that's fine. But sometimes actually we can get the data on the UI thread, and we don't need to switch the context again. Because internally, when we call post live data, it's gonna use handler with a looper. So but we actually don't need it because we are already on the UI thread. So and we might lose some frames, and our screen might blink a bit. So can we maybe implement a bit better solution to change the thread to the main one only if it's needed?
Change the thread only when it's needed. Actually, I think I don't get where this is going, but I think if you're asking about, the answer is yes, but I don't currently see how it can be done. Maybe I'm just not.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
maybe
fine.
one more hint.
Yeah, sure. So also let me answer on the question in the chat. Our repository can get our data from the runtime cache, and usually runtime cache it's hash map storage, and we should get our data immediately, and we don't need to change any thread. So when we don't need to change the thread, we just can show it on the UI.
Once I had, I think, a question. So can be our implementation of repository and observe data always running on our UI thread?
Yeah, we can.
So, for example, we can implement our repository so it will have some, single, how it's called in English, single place of truth, and it will use, for example, our memory, and observed data will always be called on UI thread, while inside all this stuff can be hidden. So
so yeah, actually but it's really important to fix on the client side. If we don't have okay, let's try to fix it together. If we don't have any post value, right, imagine we don't have live data at all, but we need to transfer the thread from the background to the main one. So let's first do this part, and after that we will improve our solution to make it work if we are already on the UI thread.
I had actually, I don't think I understand what we are talking about right now.
Yeah, sure, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, let me just explain again. So the context here, it can be on the main thread. At the same time, it may be on the background thread. If it's on the main thread, it means that we didn't have a real HTTP request. We fetched the data from the runtime cache. Runtime cache, which is actually a hash map. And yeah, it's really easy operation. But talking about background thread, okay, let's be always network. And the thing is, if we already on the main thread, we don't need to change the thread to the main because we might lose some frames. But if we are on the background thread, we should always change the thread. So let's now remove our first requirement with the main thread and imagine that, okay, it's always on the background thread. So let's implement a solution which will change the thread inside that lambda to the main always in 100% of cases, but without post value here, because small hind post value use the same mechanism here, but it's not gonna helpful for us to fix the problem with the main thread. So, yeah.
Okay, I still don't get, but I will say some words, and maybe you will say that yes, we are talking about this stuff. Are you talking about, for example, handler or no?
Yeah, handler and looper, that's absolutely fine.
Okay. So, for example, we can use handler. Still, I don't use it a lot, like in a real world, but I tried them. So it's like we can call, how it's called. So we can create handler, then start a thread, and this thread will be working on our UI thread, but we can send messages to handler from our background thread, and that's how we will.
Yeah, but let's
process.
just what do you think about handler post, and that's it. Like a handler with a main looper and post, yeah.
Post is if I remember correctly, it uses runnable inside of argument, and we can set this runnable. And
yeah, exactly. So if you create a handler here, for instance, handler looper and main looper, okay, with the post. So yeah, it's gonna work. Actually, it's the same which you can find in the set value. So, but talking about handler itself, how it actually works.
How it actually works? Oh, so it use, if I remember correctly, it use message queue and message at all to pass data between, okay. 1 second. It uses messages to post data to some message queue using handler, and these messages can store some data, and if I remember correctly, even some code, like we are doing right now, so this looper is called looper, so it goes in loop about this message queue to check all these messages, and if the time of message is arrived, so it posts call method. Also, when we call in post, I remember that we can set some time stamp when to execute this.
Yeah, that's fine. So am I right that somehow we just need to check either we on the main thread or not, and to call handler post only if we're not on the main thread?
Okay, actually, how we can create checkers?
Actually, it's a question about we can do that. And one of the idea, actually, first let me just explain why we just need to take care about that case. So it's not overthinking case. It's case about real life. For instance, if you use coroutines, we have a lot of dispatchers. Dispatchers.main, dispatchers.main.immediate. It wasn't created just just for fun. It was created exactly to cover that particular case, because we might lose the frame, for instance. But if already on the main thread, our screen actually can have a blinks, and we actually experienced a lot of blinks because of that external post from the handler. And the answer, how can we actually check it? Actually, you might create a looper for the main thread.
To check that.
Yeah. So how can we check the thread? You can set looper. We have method main looper. And if it's
we can actually, just check what looper is used right now.
Yes, exactly. And the question And my looper, it's a thread local variable, actually. It will be unique for each thread. And but we don't have a looper main thread. We may create handler with looper, main looper, for instance. Actually we have that method. So so if it's the same, we may just call set value.
Set value. Instead, we just
but instead we can use post, for instance. It will be the fix of the problem.
Okay.
Post value. Okay. I think we actually done. So Wladysław, you are amazing. Thank you so much for having that nice chat and nice conversation. So we might actually we can have we can discuss all of the topics to find the right answers for all of them if you want, if you have a time. So probably just need to ask Vasilina and and Shamil as well about it.
So guys, I'm so impressed, and I hope this meeting was really useful for everyone. So thank you, Alexei, and thank you, Vlad, for this opportunity, for these amazing meetings. So we can continue in Russia. I think it's more convenient way. Ребят, что насчет фидбэка, Леш?
По поводу фидбэка, так, я делал какие-то нотки, точнее, заметки по поводу всего. Первое, что хочется отметить, Владислав очень такой человек, с которым очень приятно и легко общаться. Бывает такое, что чувствуется какой-то напряжение. Я с Владиславом реально чувствую, что мы просто общаемся за Android. Видно, что у Владислава есть именно опыт под Android. Видно, что он не очень большой, но видно, что Владислав постепенно разбирается с вещами. Если отвечать вопрос, справил ли я Владислава, то есть в конкретное место работы, зависит все от позиции. Скорее всего, на позицию начального мидла и junior плюс 100% я бы забрал Владислава с руками, потому что очень интересно, то есть очень интересно работать с людьми, которые замотивированы тем, чтобы изучать что-то новое. Я всегда ставлю софт-скиллы намного выше, чем технические, потому что те вещи, про которые мы все сегодня говорили, это все учится. Камон. И мы с Владиславом, кстати, реально, наверное, еще парочку раз созвонимся, чтобы это закрепить. И это больше не будет проблемой, абсолютно. Так что, да, мой ответ, Владислав себя очень хорошо показал.
Ребята, это потрясающе. Я думаю, Влад тоже очень приятно это услышать, потому что действительно очень было интересное интервью, очень позитивно, очень приятное, классно. Что насчет вопросов, Леш? Идем мы в Zoom или идем в Zoom?
Да, можно вообще все обсудить. Тут есть много вопросов в чатике, можно на каждый из них ответить. Не знаю, можем в Zoom ответить, можем прямо людей присоединить туда.
Давай, какие есть вопросики, можешь сейчас ответить, если что-то прям интересно, что ты считаешь нужным. А остальное можно в Zoom.
Да, хорошо. Так. Кажется, ситуация придумана, но мне интересно, что автор хочет вытянуть. Ситуация, почему она не придумана, опять же, есть реальные девайсы, не на всех девайсах. Да, это будет распознаваться, и это моргание будет видно. Мы поддерживаем, начиная с 6-го Android, поддерживаем абсолютно разные вендоры, и в различных компаниях видно, что много юзеров все еще сидит, в зависимости от бизнеса, на 6-м Android. Поэтому этот кейс, который хандлится буквально в 2 строчки кода, поддержать можно и даже нужно, потому что мы не можем гарантировать, что все девайсы сильные. Конечно, на флагманских пикселях вы практически не заметите разницы, и актуальность этого кейса сохраняется к нулю. Но пока что мы все еще не приблизились к тому, чтобы все устройства были сильные, эта проблема будет. И в карутинах есть диспатчер, и он специально для этого кейса сделан. Так, следующий вопрос.
А можно вопрос? Да? Это было про то, как из бэкграунд-потока вызвать главный, да?
Это было про то, как перевести поток с бэкграунда на главный.
Понял.
Тогда в репозитории у нас вообще ничего нет Android специфичного, нет ни хандлера, вообще ничего. Просто мне иногда он может поменять поток, а иногда нет.
Мне просто кажется, что это не столько придумано, сколько достаточно редкая ситуация, и И как бы не всем необходимы, но в целом да. То есть если такой кейс стоит, то очень полезная штука. Прям.
Это да.
Единственное, вы это как-то обычно прячете у себя, ну, то есть...
Да, конечно,
когда...
это скрыто все за экстеншены, вот, и, ну, то есть все скрыто, все тестируется. Вот, ну, в Kotlin Flow абсолютно такая же проверка, которую вот мы сегодня написали, она есть в диспатчер main immediate, можете при расходнике посмотреть. Вот, в RX такого, короче, нет, в RX, ну, то есть в RX можно самому написать, тоже буквально, ну, не в пару строчек сложнее, но можно написать. Так, что там следующий вопрос?
Так, Леша, я тогда предлагаю нам, может быть, еще 1-2 вопросика покрыть и переходить, то есть стрим завершим и попробуем в Zoom перейти.
Да, хорошо. Так, да, в чатике да, вопрос посмотреть. Сейчас сами придумали проблему, основную, что решили. Так. Переключение треда — это микросекунды. Обычно да, но, опять же, старые устройства мы уже о них поговорили. Так, да, в основном много комментариев по поводу того, что это надуманный кейс, вот, но, короче, все-таки не согласен, что он надуманный все еще. Вот.
Да, мне кажется, это очень хороший.
Будет.
Да, мне кажется, это очень хороший кейс, и на нем вот как раз проверяете все базовые знания на андроида и так далее. Вот, мне кажется, это очень
Кстати,
круто.
Паша написал очень хорошее сообщение сейчас, то, что из X, в X даже тоже был раньше такой скедулер, который вот на моем потоке делает, но там был еще очень огромный тред, где Джейк Уортон и все остальные все дело обсуждают, и аргументацию, почему это выпилили из X, именно поддержку, она была потому, что ну, просто очередь UI-ного потока может переполниться, и тогда у нас будут проблемы. Это правда. Но, однако, очень тяжело найти приложение, да, вот в котором такая проблема реально будет воспроизводиться. Вот, просто могу привести пример. Вот, у нас порядка, не знаю, на старте нашего приложения вот таких вот источников данных, которые обсервят все вот на мейн-треде, их достаточно много. Вот, их порядка, не знаю, ну, если я скажу, что больше 100, я не ошибусь. Или я ошибусь, потому что, возможно, больше. Вот, и проблем с перформансом именно в этом случае нет. Вот, но мы все-таки можем дойти здесь до крайности, это 100%. Вот, и тогда оптимальнее, конечно же, будет использовать и всегда менять, ну, постить все в месседж-кью заново.
Что ж, тогда, наверное, спасибо еще раз всем за присутствие, за отличный собес. Я думаю, можем переходить в Zoom. Можем
Да,
вот
мне
сейчас
кажется,
в
очень
чатик
создам.
скинуть ссылку. Да.
Мгм.
Тогда еще раз всем спасибо. Так, я попробую
Спасибо
завершить. Да, то переходите все в Zoom.
Да, спасибо, ребята. Увидимся в Zoom. Пока-пока.
Увидимся.
Все, пока всем.